Overall evaluation, I thought it was much improved in a lot of different areas, but our kids were calm, standing behind them today. The offense, the defense was just a much calmer feeling. Thought they hustled around very well. They played quicker, faster. There were some big plays. And I told them before the scrimmage, it's important when we start to get to this point, we need to be able to earn your way down the field. Because you have success on offense or defense, it can't be because it's a gift, because the other side of the ball made a mistake. And we're still making our fair share of mistakes, but there was a lot of times when you had to earn your way down the field to have success on offense. You had to earn your way to make a play on defense to get a stop. So overall, I'm proud of the kids, competed very well. Loved the way they handled themselves when we kind of changed the tempo with the quarterback. Quarterback wasn't live today. Had no issues with that. Thought the young men handled the physicality, but yet taking care of each other in a scrimmage situation very well. And that's, they care about each other, and that's a big part.
How do you feel like Cyril's kind of developing into maybe a leader on that secondary?
He is not maybe a leader. He's an absolute leader. He's leader by the way he carries himself, not just out here and not just in the weight room, but when he leaves the facility. And to me, that's a true leader in college athletics. What you do when you're not around your coaches is very important. And, it's important for him to be a great player and be, a leader of the young men. So he is a standout leader right now for us on defense.
Obviously, since we weren't able to talk to you on Thursday when Luke Del Rio announced he was transferring, can you talk about the discussion with him when he told you that he was going to leave the program?
Yeah, Luke and I, first of all, we had an open discussion with every kid on the team, and we all know when we started with 7 quarterbacks that we sat down, we discussed the situation, exactly where we were, and the key thing for me, like every position, Coach McGivern did a tremendous job of handling the situation, and Luke went to his position coach, and then obviously Luke and I had a discussion when he decided that it was best for him to move on to another school. He was unbelievably professional. He wants to play football, and he wants to have an opportunity to be an assistant that best suits his skill set. And he's been around this game of football for a minute with that family, and I wish him the best of luck. And he's excited to move on to the next adventure.
And Gary, moving forward with a quarterback who has not played in college or anywhere on the roster, how much of a concern is that of yours at this point?
But it really doesn't. I think they're growing, they're developing, and where we are, if you look from a week ago and then you look at what they did today, and yes, we had our fair share of mistakes back there, but we did a lot of things much improved from a week ago. So anytime you're going to go out there with a young man that hasn't taken a snap, it's a concern. That's not the only position. We're an unbelievably young football team with really 13 scholarship kids that are seniors, so we have a lot of youth running around, but we'll continue to grow with the quarterback position. A good quarterback has an opportunity if he has good players around him. A great quarterback has an opportunity to be great if he has great players around him. So his supporting cast is the most important part.
Coach, talk about how you would assess the running backs going into the spring game and kind of, how they've met your expectations so far.
Well, I think Coach Locke has done a fantastic job of developing some toughness with that crew, and they've been excited about accepting the role of physical runs, and we saw some of those today. You saw one run, we got called on a holding, and it came back, but it was a powerful physical run. It becomes contagious through the offensive lineman when they know that running back's going to hit it in there and be a physical runner. And I thought all 4 of them today ran much improved from a physicality standpoint, and ball security was very good at the running back position today also. So major improvements in 7 days with the running backs.
Would you say that's kind of a strong suit going into the season for you as a depth at running back?
It needs to be. Yeah, I would agree with that right now. I don't know if I'd have said that 2 weeks ago to you, but right now I think that those young men have developed some physical toughness, and then the gains that they can make in the weight room between now and when we line up against Weber State here should be dramatic, and they need to be dramatic.
Gary, what about the O-line? You've got virtually the entire O-line back. How do you feel about it at this point?
Yeah, those kids were together for, I believe it was the last 5 games last year, and played some big-time opponents, and that experience is invaluable. They're growing, they're developing. Again, the challenge for them is to get ourselves through this next week now of spring football, and then make football be very, very important, 24/7. And when I say that, what they put in their bodies, the way they're training, set high goals for them from a strength and conditioning, change their bodies to, be a big-time offensive lineman. I feel good about him, but I want to feel great about him when we take the field the first time.
This was the last scrimmage before the spring game. What is the biggest improvement or the biggest change that you want to see from both offense and defense going into the spring game?
Walking from today into the
Yes.
spring game, boy, I saw a lot of it today. We're going to have some fun in the spring game, but as far as the biggest improvement, I would say the continued improvement that we saw in the last 7 days, from a week ago today, stay on those same lines. Communication, have some calmness about ourselves, play physical, play hard. There was some extra effort plays on offense and defense today that were great to see, that we can pull those clips and teach from. So, moving in the right direction, but also I want them to understand how far we have to go. We're chasing a lot of people, and every day we just got to get one more step closer to them.
I know he wasn't out there today, but Jalen Grimble, what have you seen out of him this spring, and maybe what makes him a good piece to play outside maybe versus at nose?
Well, Jalen is very excited to take the next step. Coach Chad and I had a meeting with him yesterday, and he had a couple very, very good days of practice. He's a talented young man. Natural God-given ability is at a high level, and football is very important to him. We all need to work together, from the trainers to the docs to the weight room guys to Coach Chad to myself, to make sure we're doing everything we possibly can to get his knee back to 100% so it's consistent. And he's going to work very hard at that, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him get back in and play in the spring game next week and do some things. But we just got to learn how to manage that situation. But I think he can be a powerful leader on this team too, as he grows into that spot in the next few months.
Coach, talk about Seth's development and how you've kind of liked where Seth has put himself this spring so far.
Well, Seth has matured. Again, this past week, if you look how we coach frantically, we coach hard, we coach very aggressively, and we do that because that's what happens when you're playing in a football game. There's other guys over there, especially at the quarterback position, that would like to see you leave the game. And Seth has grown and developing right here in his mind. Every day he's walking out, I see improvement. And again, calmness, his ability to manage a football game, don't have the big turnovers. We had some turnovers today. I don't know, off the top of my head, I don't think one of those came from Seth, which are so important for him to be able to manage the football game and understand there is worse things in the world than punting at times. So his growth and development has been good. I think Marcus is continuing to grow also, and so is Nick.
Would you kind of give Coach McGivern some credit for being able to develop Seth, or has it kind of just been all on his own?
No. Coach McGivern he's the best in my opinion. His ability to be able to teach quarterbacks, and really not just one quarterback, not just say, hey, this is my guy and who I'm going to grow and this is who I'm going to develop. He works with his position group unbelievably well. He's a tremendous teacher. I think he's a great leader. His communication, his calmness is great. You're talking about two different sides of the world when you're talking about Coach Baldwin and the way he coaches and the way Coach McGivern coaches, which is they've complemented each other very, very well throughout the years. But Kevin is an unbelievable teacher, and it just from the tiniest things that I have no idea what he's even talking about, throwing mechanics, his drops, where they are, all the way down to the stripe on the front of the helmet so he can see exactly where their eyes are when they're throwing the ball. I mean, he's a tremendous coach, and we're lucky to have him.
What did you like from Chris Brown today?
Physicalness, absolutely physicalness, and I felt like we were much better in our protections. We were getting to the spot we needed to get in our protections. We weren't perfect all the time, but that defense was flying around and was extremely aggressive today. But he finished some runs, yak yards after carry was important, or yards after, what do you say? That's yards after catch. Contact, is that what they say? Yeah, yards after carry, contact, whatever. So that's the offensive term. Defensive guy, I guess. But he finished his runs today. That's the easiest way to put it.